Welcome back to another mini episode of Chaotic Good Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Kate.
I'm your co-host, Nate, and today we're doing another movie review.
Yay! Because we love movies.
Yes, we do.
All right, today we're going to be reviewing a movie that I don't know how long it's been on Netflix.
About a
Probably a month
year.
or two. A year? The
Well,
movie
it's
just
been
came
out for
out
about
last
a year.
fall.
Isn't it? I thought it said 2025.
Yeah, it came out in theaters last fall.
So it hasn't been on streaming very long at all then.
Yeah,
Fair
no.
enough.
That's
Fair
why
enough.
I was so excited when I saw it because I was like, "Oh, I get to watch this one for basically free. I don't have to go rent it."
Yeah. True.
So I guess I don't know, did we even say
Bugonia.
the title?
We did not. Today we are
Uh,
reviewing Bugonia. I think I'm saying that right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, with the directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone,
Mm-hmm.
and, yeah, so let's just kinda get into it because 'cause I've got so much I wanna talk about because 'cause I'm so excited.
Yeah, so I would like to preface this to everybody. This is the first works from this director I have seen. So just a heads up with that one. So my review is going to be a little bit different from what other people would that have experience with this guy.
Yeah. And I've seen 2 of his other films. The first one that I saw was The Killing of a Sacred Deer with, Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, and Barry Keoghan. Truly a weird experience, and so I was like, "Give me more," and then I went and watched The Lobster, again with Colin Farrell and, Rachel Weisz. Here we go, sorry. Um and see, I had seen a lot of discourse, hoopla, raves, whatever, about Poor Things, which is another
Okay.
film by this director and starring Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
And it had done very, very well during awards season. And I think that's where she got her first Oscar from, was from that movie. I actually haven't seen it yet.
I
I'm
haven't either.
planning to, though. But because of that, I really wanted to see Bugonia, so when I saw it come out on Netflix, I was like, "Yes, let's do this one."
Sounds yes.
So,
And honestly, I'm glad you suggested it because it was a ride. It was a roller coaster ride of ups and downs. I mean,
yeah,
I haven't
and
seen many as movies as strange as this one. It was a little out there.
yeah, it's its own category. I like to say the director is a bit of an absurdist. The funny thing about it for me, though, was, like, I had originally thought that Yorgos had written this movie, but he didn't. All he did was direct it.
Okay.
This was, an adapted screenplay written by, someone else, I can't remember his name right now, and it was adapted from a 2003 sci-fi comedy, for lack of a better term, called Save the Green Planet,
All right.
and it had very much of the same premise as this movie did, where, well, for Begonia anyway, it's a paranoid beekeeper who kidnaps a CEO of this very large tech company and is of the
Pharmatech, isn't it?
I believe so. I think it was pharmacy related or medically related.
Yeah, some kind of biomedical or something.
Yeah. Well, the company helped, or in this movie anyway, in Begonia, the company helped create nicotinoids, if I'm saying that right?
Something.
Nicotinoids,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Basically, this insecticide or pesticide that they spray over plants and stuff that's not supposed to affect the plants, but it deters most insects and pests. And it's there's like a lot of research on it where it's led to colony collapse disorder that's been happening over the last 50 years or so, especially with the development of newer and newer drugs and chemicals that they're spraying on plants. So Emma Stone plays this CEO of this company that created this chemical, and Jesse Plemons plays this beekeeper who has had a lot of familial trauma related to this company in particular. And he is of the belief that she is an alien from a neighboring galaxy who has
Oh,
come
the
to Earth,
Andromedans.
the Andromedans, who came to Earth and basically took over and were planning on wiping out Earth altogether through these nefarious methods. And his very simple ask, I will say, at the beginning, after he kidnapped her, was take me to your emperor and demand that they leave Earth. Just leave us alone.
Mhm.
Um, and, like, of course, she wasn't an alien to begin with. Um, but yeah. Uh, so, Nate, what was your overall rating for the movie?
A solid 8 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the twists were great at the end. I mean, there was, like, so many twists, like, in the last, like, 15, 30 minutes or so. Just
Hmm.
one just crazy thing after another, and I'm like, "Why does that make everything else make more sense?" And it hurts my brain. But the cinematography was great, the color choices, the lighting, the everything was fantastic. Learning that the whole head shaving thing that happened on there, that was
That was
real.
real.
Yeah. That scene was real, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, that's dedication for 1, and 2, he was going hard on her head, like, ow." But that was a crazy movie. It didn't make any sense, and it made a lot of sense all at once, so I'm here for that level of chaos.
Yeah, and that definitely seems to be the case with a lot of Lanthimos films too. And because I had seen a couple of his other movies, I kind of expected it to be kind of crazy and nonsensical going into
Mhm.
it. This one probably by far made the most sense to me and felt like the most linear, progression-wise. Like,
Okay.
"Oh, yeah, that makes sense." And being, like, an avid true crime horror fan, I was kind of like, "Okay, so she's doing this to talk her kidnapper out of doing what he's doing, realizing that she's not getting anywhere with him, and then
Mhm.
completely changes her MO to kinda negotiate her way out of this hostage situation."
Yeah,
Um
yeah, I really felt like she was, well, being a CEO at what appears to be a fairly young age, uh, had to be not just, an aggressive and good tactician, but also really intelligent and good at negotiating. So,
Mhm.
she's got people skills, so it looks like to me, that she was really just doing whatever she could to find the right angle just to be able to survive.
Mhm. I think that was a fantastic example and foreshadowing of them being like, spoiler alerts, she is an alien, but they are
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
different species because they are speaking different languages. If you think about it, she's speaking all of this corporate CEO talk. "Can we have a dialogue about this?" And he's like, no, this is what I want. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. You are an Andromedan. You are not of this planet. You are doing all of this harm. You need to leave now. And if you won't leave, this is what's going to happen." And like, I feel like a lot of people were taken aback by the ending where, she is up in the ship and she's talking with the
Mhm.
other Andromedans, and I'll get into the whole that thing. Okay, so that was like I feel like that was probably so validating for flat earthers.
Well, here's the thing though, is I feel like that was just a table projection, and not the actual, like, Earth.
Part of the point of, Jesse Plemons' character, was it Tate or
Yeah, Teddy.
Teddy? Thank you.
Teddy.
was he is a conspiracy theorist. He is a
Right.
tinfoil hat guy. And so anything that the movie or the surrounding circumstances could provide him to further validate his thoughts and beliefs, they kind of threw in there. And so I feel like that very last scene, even after his death, was like further validation that he was right all along. And the split scenes where they would go like the countdown from 4 3 2 1 of the lunar eclipse, you
Mhm.
notice the image of the earth start to tilt a little bit until it is finally that flat surface projection of earth.
Mhm.
And so that was just like kind of another nod to like sometimes conspiracy theorists are right.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
and in the case of Teddy, he was.
Yeah.
Um
Which blew my mind because there was 0 evidence through, like, 98% of this movie to support it. But afterwards, looking back, it's like, no, she wasn't just negotiating, she was actually opening up and being honest. What? So the evidence was there in front of us the whole time.
Yes, and that is another thing that I really love about this director is because of the Easter eggs, and it really makes you think and have to, like, go back and rewatch these movies. Because, like, one of the first things that was an indication to me anyway that she was different, and it wasn't just because she was, like, super healthy, took all these vitamins, did Krav Maga every morning, was when he had her hooked up to the electric machine and had all those nodes on her, and he had cranked it up to the point that he was about to blow out his fuse box at his house, but she had
Yeah,
survived somehow.
that was not something a normal human could handle by
Yeah,
far.
yeah, so
No,
that was
not
kind of
even
like a
remote.
first hint for me that, like, "Oh, no, maybe she actually isn't human." Um, and another moment for me where I was like, "She can't be human," was how she reacted to Dawn's death.
Yeah,
Because
she there was 0 freak out at all.
like, there was an initial scream, but I think that's mostly because she got, you know, blood and guts
Splattered.
all over her, but then afterwards, she almost treated it like it was a speed bump, like Dawn's
Mhm.
body was an obstacle to walk over instead of the loss of a life. And then, um and
How
then this
Don went really surprised me.
see, it didn't surprise me, um, because when he was talking to her and he was getting more and more upset and frustrated, once he said, "Tell Teddy I love him," I kind of had a feeling,
Yeah,
and
but up until that point, I did think he was gonna end up shot, but I thought that it was gonna be police that would shoot him.
mm,
Like, I thought towards the end, cops would
yeah,
show up and there'd be some kind of, something, and he'd end up getting shot and killed. I did not
yeah,
see him taking his own life like that up until right before.
yeah, I can see how that would make sense,
Well, I was
but
still going into where I was still halfway in thinking, "Oh, this is just some weird serial killer dude."
yeah, so, like, I approached it from the mindset of I'm watching a horror movie and
Mhm,
thinking, "Okay, she's, the final girl, how is she gonna get out?"
mhm.
But then it's like, "Wait a second, this is a Lanthimos movie, so it's not gonna be what you expect." So I was just kind of like, "Alright, I'm along for the ride for right now." The other thing that made it so intense for me anyway, was the soundtrack and the score.
Yes, and the way they added static in for the music in
Mhm.
certain situations, so it
Uh-huh.
sounded oh, that was so eerie.
Yeah.
It really set
Well,
the
it's
mood.
like it had these massive crescendos and intense moments of the most banal shots of
Mhm,
just watching, like, here's the house, here's the police car, here's, the beehives that are in the backyard. And it's this, like, big operatic sound that you
mhm.
would associate with, like, a John Williams action type scene, but it's not that at all. And I don't know, it kinda gave me anxiety a little bit because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, this is the
Mhm.
lead up to whatever's going to happen."
But it
And
just kept
then
leading and kept leading and kept leading.
yeah. So a cool thing that I learned about this, like, just this morning on the Reddit thread was that the composer didn't know anything about the movie when he wrote the score.
Oh,
Like, he was given that it was a Lanthimos movie, it was gonna have Emma Stone in it. He had bees and aliens. That's all he was given when he wrote the score, and then on top of that, he actually did, what's it called? A callback to a classic composition by Holst called The Planets, and it
mhm.
was the specific set or interlude or whatever of Mars, while Emma Stone's character was walking back to the headquarters. That's what was
Thought I'd
playing was the
recognize that.
Mars. And also that the composer had a cameo as one of the Andromedans in that last scene.
Okay.
So, I thought that was really cool. But yeah.
Yeah. I have to say though, other than that, the big surprise for me was that the calculator when she was like, it had to look like a mundane object, like it really was the thing.
Yeah,
Like
so the whole
so
time
many
she had
times
that
she was
out.
telling the truth.
Yeah, that's the best part about it for me is because, like, in the beginning, you can't really tell if she's like, you believe that she's telling the truth, and then after the scene where she finds his, like, secret room in the basement, and she gets so pissed off, she's like, "How many of them were there? How many of them were actually Andromedans, and how many were humans?" and whatever, and it's like, okay, so she's playing along into the bit and whatever.
Mhm.
And she goes on to this monologue of, like, this is what this alien species has done to the planet, and we will do it again because this is what humanity has done to the planet. That's like, damn, girl, did you recite all of that while he was gone?
For
Or is she
real, I
telling the
was like,
truth?
yeah, turns out she's telling the truth. The
And
whole
then sh
arc thing and the everything, and I'm like, "No, she's really playing into his delusions hard, isn't she?"
Yeah. Yeah, and then okay, the other indicator for me, though, was when she pulled out that box and it was
Mhm.
just a calculator. I'm like, "That's not just a calculator. It wouldn't be hidden away with a special box if it was just a calculator."
See, I thought it was, she was pulling out something to, like that was hidden like a security thing.
That's kinda what I thought too, like, it was, like,
Like sh
maybe an old school Nokia cell phone with,
Yeah,
like,
something that's what I
an
was
exit
thinking too.
call.
And then it
Yeah.
focused in on, "No, it is a calculator." I'm like, "Well, that's weird to have in the box. Is it a gift or a memento?" And she's like, from when she was, like, young or a dead parent or something,
Mhm.
and she's just trying to stall while security comes.
Mhm.
I don't think, when his vest blew, I don't think it was his accidental something. I think she really ignited it herself with the weird alien disguised calculator thingy.
I disagree.
Yeah?
I really do think it was a manufacturer error that caused it to set off, because of how surprised she was that that had happened.
I mean, I'd
Um
be surprised too getting hit in the face with someone else's face.
Yeah.
Just even if you expected the vest to go off, you wouldn't expect the head to come flying off and hit you in the face. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised too.
Yeah. I was actually really sad because she had so many nice clothes and, like, Louboutins in that closet that got blood all over them, and I was like, "Not the
Oh, they're
shoes!"
yeah, all of it's just trash now.
Ugh, not the shoes. But I like how the ending really tied in with the underlying theme of, save the bees.
Save the
And that
bees.
even after humanity is gone, the bees will still be here. The bees will keep the planet going.
See, the one thing that confused me about that is at first I thought they were like had some kind of attack that they were representing with that as in they're like uh essentially removing the atmosphere somehow. Um
Mhm.
but and that's how they were gonna just end life, but they were gonna end all life. But they only did it to humanity.
Mhm.
And I'm a little bit confused as to how they were able to only affect humanity, and it was
I think
literally everybody, the whole planet wide.
yeah. Well, and that whole scene kinda really shook me too because of, like, how many bodies they shot that were just lying around, and it was
The
literally everybody, and how
the
many
doll or
activities that were still running even when the humans had just passed out.
mhm,
But, like, that would make sense if they had just popped the atmosphere and it would have ended all life on Earth, and I think that was probably what happened in the Korean movie that they pulled from, was that the aliens just ended all life on Earth to start over again,
mhm,
which goes back to the whole inclusion of "We ended the dinosaurs" in her monologue.
right,
Um, and I think the writers chose to do it differently this time because they really wanted to hone in on the fact that it is humanity that is killing Earth. It's not the animals, it's not the bees, it's not
yeah,
nature itself. It is humanity's,
effect,
abuse of
yeah.
nature. But yeah, I really appreciated that whole subplot in there. And then there were like the side plots with the police officer and
That
his
was
mother
that
and his
yeah,
cousin,
see, like,
and
that started off, I was thinking like, "Oh, he was, like your average bully or whatever," you know? And he's like, "Okay, I've built up the gumption to go to finally apologize for being a bully," and then it got really weird, like, I think he did some really, really bad things to Teddy, like, some really bad things.
yeah, yeah, my first indication of that was when he initially pulled Teddy over, and he's like, I've been thinking about you a lot recently, but not in a weird way."
Yeah, that
And I
threw
was
me
like,
too,
"Oh,
I was
no."
like, what?"
Nope, that happened, and then when he said he was his babysitter, I was like, "Okay, so that's what happened."
Yeah,
And the fact that Teddy kept brushing it off and saying, "No, it's fine, it's done and over with. I don't wanna talk about it anymore." And then the couple of scenes where it would blip back to his mother and her in the hospital and the flashback that he has with his mother in the bathtub with all of these
the
needles coming out of
needles.
her, that was a beautifully artistic way of describing her addictions and how it ended up to where she is at that point in the movie. But part of her dialogue when she was talking to Teddy when she was in the bathtub was she was describing herself as like her your fucked up cunt mom or something like that, and I was like,
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, she got real problems."
"That's a really interesting choice of language to use," and I feel like it was, part of Teddy's memory tainting it and how it was represented in his brain. Probably not what actually was said or happened, but his way of remembering the events, how it happened for him,
Right,
um, which goes on
and
to add depth to the whole like, he is paranoid, he is a conspiracy theorist, he is
mhm,
a very heavily traumatized person, and so because of that level of trauma that he's experienced, the way that he perceives the world is not normal and is not ever going to be 100% reality.
right, right, like, I really thought that his mom was, like, schizophrenic drug addict and ended up overdosing and ended up in a coma, and then when Emma Stone's character start the flashbacks, her talking about opioid epidemics and stuff, I'm like,
Mhm,
"Oh, so he's holding the CEO of this pharma company responsible because
mhm.
his mom got addicted to opioids." Um,
Well, not just that, but her company specifically produced a chemical that was supposed to be, like, similar to Narcan, was my assumption, was
yeah,
this recovery drug, basically,
right,
to help
and it
heroin addicts, and that's what ended up putting her in the coma, and that's why
that's
he
right.
blamed her.
That's
And that whole scene, oh my god, and this was another part of why I love this director, because like you had mentioned in your, written review that, the scene with him holding her IV cords,
yep, yep, and, like,
floating in the
carrying
air.
around like a balloon.
Yeah. It In my mind, it looked like another one of his memories that took on a very strange perception of possibly the corporate meeting that he had already had with Michelle and all of the other victims of this particular drug, and that
Mhm.
the payout that they got, the reparations that they got, like Emma Stone had said herself several times
Was not
before,
enough.
was not nearly enough. And that being part of, like, the overarching message of, yeah, she is a CEO, she is a billionaire, she does not care about like, the billionaire class does not care about the working class.
Mhm.
So, it added depth to the whole us versus them thing that they had going on throughout the movie
Yeah.
too.
It did sound like she was, um, in the moment at least, genuinely sorry for how things had occurred. And then towards the end, when she's talking about humanity, and what the Andromedans are trying to do, that last big conversation with Teddy before they take off, talking about how, she's doing everything she can to develop something to save everybody. His mom's in a coma because of this Andromedan drug that's supposed to transform them and help them, and it can get rid of all of this bad stuff, and it almost makes me think she was telling the truth, and that his mom really was the final straw to see if it would work or not, and him killing her was like the final nail in the coffin for humanity.
I can see that. I can see how her telling him about the antifreeze to go save his mom was a test that he very obviously failed.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's I see with the dinner table conversation that they had had, and she was chained up to the chair, and she was expressing, that compassion and empathy for him and his cousin and the situation that they had lived through. I feel like that just gives more credence to Emma Stone's acting skills instead of the character actually having the empathy. Because
Okay.
she was acting, she was pretending to be softer, kinder,
Yeah.
more, placated to
Right.
this kidnapper because she is still in a hostage situation,
Right.
and that, one, speaks to her range of acting, like, holy shit, but 2, it also speaks to, like, that horror element of the movie where she's very aware of, like, "Okay, he won't let me go unless I play nice." So she's playing nice to the nth degree to make sure that she gets out alive. So yeah, it could be both. It could very easily be both. She could have actually had a little bit of compassion for his situation and also been like, "I'm gonna say whatever I need to get out."
Well, yeah, I just mean like, with the actual what she was talking about with trying to save humanity, and they're testing this new gene therapy thing. Like, I really think that she was telling the truth about that part. And then if you notice in the last scene where she's up in the ship and everything, where they're discussing, which test subjects have survived and which ones haven't.
Mhm.
It really felt like she was the last living test subject,
Mhm.
and with her dead, they will not get results. That's why I think that he put the last nail in the coffin, is he killed the
Mm,
last test subject, and
yeah.
that was the only chance that they were gonna give humanity to keep going, is if this test worked.
I also think if that is the case, they weren't counting on Teddy doing what he did.
Also true. I don't think anybody was counting on Teddy to survive. He seemed to surprise everyone.
That's just like, don't count the weird guy out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the loose cannon's gonna do the loose cannon thing, like,
Yeah,
it's expect the unexpected.
yeah. I also really it was really interesting to me to watch the dynamic between him and Don, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, see, it really felt like he was taking advantage of Don hard.
Yes. But in my mind, it was like, how many real life situations is that the case?
Yeah.
That, the person with some sort of mental handicap or disability is in the legal and medical care of someone who is very much off their rocker and
Right.
shouldn't be in charge of anyone, let alone themselves.
Oh,
And
I can tell you from personal, experience and observation that it really does happen from time to time. I don't know how common it is, but I know it does happen.
yeah, and how many people with disabilities that just tend to slip through the cracks and end up in situations like Dawn did. And then I
Even one is too many, to be honest, but I'm sure it's quite a
yeah.
few.
Yeah. Well, like, the part that confused me, and it later on made sense as the movie progressed because it was just like another gear kind of helping move the plot along, but the fact
Mhm.
that Teddy had them both chemically castrate themselves.
That really got me, and after that, I was like, "How much you wanna bet that what he really got a hold of was, like, some kind of, like, a lithium or something, and he OD'd on the both of them on that, uh, to the point of doing, like, not, like, dead or anything, but, like, some kind of permanent damage to the brain that is feeding into this delusion, and just making things that much worse."
I mean, that is a possibility. I
That
was
that was my thought up until towards the end when things were going really weird. I was like, "Hmm."
yeah. Well, like, when Don was describing how he felt on that drug feels or sounded very similar to a woman going through menopause. Um, so that's why I was kind of operating under the assumption that he did somehow manage to find that particular, drug, the progesterone, whatever,
Mhm,
to do that to them. And then he kept telling Dawn, like, it'll pass, these feelings of being, crazy and your heart racing and like you're not in your right mind, it'll pass. But like, I feel like Teddy was just more experienced at masking some of those symptoms because
mhm,
he's had to mask and put up a face for a lot of his life, as we
mhm,
see with the plot of The Cop and we see with his mom too.
mhm,
He had to be the one to hold everything all together. So when his whole world fell apart, he starts to fall apart, but he has one person he still has to hold everything all together for,
mhm,
and he's abusing this person because he doesn't know love in any other way other than the abuse that he's
mhm.
experienced. I also thought it was a really sweet note that they added in that he can be a kind and caring person with how he treated his coworkers. And it looked like an Amazon warehouse to me.
Yeah, that's what I got too out of it was, like, they were packaging for
Yeah, yeah.
getting them to
So
ship.
It's it was a good display of how complex people and humanity really is,
Mhm,
and how powerful the effects of trauma can be on someone and the different types of rabbit holes that they can go down when they experience that level of trauma. And then also the underlying environmentalism message that's there and, the eat the rich message that's there, which I find to be so ironic considering the budget for this movie.
Oh, I didn't see the budget for this movie. What was
55 million,
it was a good sized
and
budget.
they barely broke 43 worldwide
They
when it
lost
was in
money on
theaters.
that one for box
They
office.
did. They did. Yeah, and I don't know.
All of that money on.
I wanna say it was the salaries for the A-list cast and the director, and probably the visual effects with the animated scenes with the space stuff that was in there.
I suppose. I don't Yeah, I suppose CGI animation in general is very, it's still expensive. Animation, period, is expensive.
Mhm.
So I could see that.
Yeah.
You get enough A-listers on one screen, it can get real expensive real quick too.
Mhm.
'Cause they're like, "Hey, we are used to at least this minimum, because this is what we are worth. This is what we bring to the movie. We will bring," 'cause it's star power, basically they have such a large following, a large audience that wherever they go, that movie's gonna blow up. So,
Yeah.
eh yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Pay me what I'm worth because this is what I can generate."
Yeah. Well, and
So
this is like the 3rd, Lanthimos movie that Emma Stone has been in, and
yeah,
where
you had mentioned that.
Poor Things got her an Oscar, it was like, "Oh, we're just gonna have her keep coming back so that this movie can generate more money."
Mhm.
Um,
Which is a good call to have, uh, teams that work really well together and have such a good dynamic to continue to work together like that.
mhm,
When you find
mhm.
that secret recipe, it's kinda hard to let that go.
Yeah, she had won an Oscar for La La Land,
Mhm.
and then immediately went to start working for this guy, and they've just been, like, magnetically coming back to each other over and over again, and Jesse Plemons too. I think this is the 2nd or 3rd one that he's done as well, so it's a very interesting combination, and I very much enjoyed how they pulled it off. So,
Yeah,
overall, this
absolutely. It
was
was a good movie.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
I don't blame you. The dialogue was very good, the acting was amazing, the
Dialogue.
the visuals were great, the writing was fantastic. Overall, it hit on every point. It was really good.
It was a really good movie. Alright, folks. Well, if you enjoyed this, let us know if there's another movie that we can review for you. Drop it down in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow.
Share with your friends.
Please. Alright. Bye.
Bye.